we've got basically what we're looking at. People were Kawhi's meeting with 4 teams, Durant's meeting with 4 teams, and then from there the dominoes are going to fall wherever they go. Durant's meeting with the Knicks, the Clippers, the Warriors, and who was the other one? There was one more. Kawhi's meeting with the 2 LA teams. He's meeting with the Raptors, of course, and then other teams of trying to call in. I guess while we're sitting here in Charlotte instead of debating all these big people, the big question is, Terry, as a Celtics fan, and I guess us here in Charlotte, is what's going to go on with Kemba Walker here?
Yeah.
Is that, put it this way, I'm going to let you kind of answer the Celtics part of it, and I'll go about the Hornets part of it, because it's really deep and really complicated as far as the money and everything. As far as the Celtics go, you're basically replacing Kyrie with the same player for the most part. But this is what I wanted to show you on this. I didn't know if you knew about this. The last year people complained about the ball stopping with Kyrie. He averaged 36 pick and rolls per 100 possessions. 36 did Kyrie. You see that number that Kemba has up there? 56.
56.
People think Kyrie hogged the ball. Kemba hogs it almost twice as more. How would Kemba? Let's not even talk money wise and whatever, but let's just talk fit, Terry. How would Kemba fit with Boston, or would y'all not be changing your offense for Kemba, or would you be trying to fit him in that Isaiah Thomas role where he's coming off screens instead of trying to cross people over? And Kemba's probably better with the ball in his hands, I think. He's not a distributor, but I don't know. What do you think, Terry?
Well, I mean, my whole deal is that when I heard about this, I was like, why Boston? I mean, really. I mean, that's the first thing I thought about.
That's funny you said that. I said that too, and I'm a Hornets fan. Why do you think that? I'll tell you my thoughts.
My whole deal is, I mean, just by what you just got through saying, we're going to want a guy who's coming in that wants the ball even more than Kyrie did. I mean, I have not understood what Boston's trying to do, and I don't understand if they'll have to give up somebody or who they're going to have to give up. But my dealing behind it is that's not where we need it. We need people low now. We don't need another guard. I think we're okay at our points with who we got out there. Terry Rozier. Is he a Kemba Walker? No. No, he is not. Can he run the show? Yes. And we've went over a million times, you are not going to win something with a point guard leading you in scoring. And I don't think we can gain anything from this. I was more for Boston to go after a Kevin Love, a Jimmy Butler, or somebody like that who I was wanting them to go get, because if you lost Horford, he's elected to go somewhere. You got to replace stuff underneath. We already lost Baines.
Yeah. Who you got to rebound right now? Do you need a 6'1" or 2 point
We still
guard?
got Morris, but I mean, I need somebody with him. Don't get me wrong. Our incoming guys and Grant Williams from Tennessee, I think, will be a major plus for Boston because he is a total inside guy. He's got the short-range jumper. He can score, and plus he's very physical. He's another Morris for me. But you got to go get another scorer on your team, and I think with Brown and Tatum, that this would all fit into place where it wasn't one guy dominating the show, and that's the problem we're going to run into if we go after Kemba.
Y'all don't need wings.
No.
You might have some of the best wings in the league as far if you put Brown, Hayward, and Tatum together.
That's what I'm saying. We ain't even mentioning Hayward. I mean,
you got good wings. But y'all need big men. Is Rozier, is he back next year? Is Rozier back or is he a free agent?
No, he's back.
Okay, so I don't. All right, I'm gonna say this I'm gonna look at this from two ways. Well, let's first say, like you said, why Boston? And that's what I don't get about. And I sit here and I was sitting there thinking last night, like, is the NBA just that fixed to where, like, why there's 30 other teams?
Yeah.
Why don't these players sign with other teams besides? I'm going to play in L.A. I'm going to play in Boston. And nobody has signed in Boston before besides Hayward, and we talked about that last week. But it's just weird to me how, like, I just want to force – like, the Lakers weren't even good last year. LeBron's getting old. So why are they forcing their way to there? Well, why do I want to be on the Lakers? I don't understand it. And he changed his number this week. If you're the greatest player you think you are, and you wear the number of someone else anyway, you're idle, and then you're willing to give up that number to someone else, dude. You're not. It's time to stop that. And why Boston? I don't know. I don't think it's just watching Kyrie last year. Kemba should know it's not a fit. Do you think they're just trying to get Charlotte to up their number more, and he just really wants? Do you think this is just his agent saying, "Hey, yeah, you guys are the front runners right now. If we leave, instead of you're the front runners. Period." There's a difference between period and if we leave. You know what I mean? Like, is this something? Because I don't get like you said, I don't get the fit with Boston. And I'm not saying Kim is a bad player. I think he needs to be on a team. And they'll have wing scores, but the fact that it's already proven that the way they want to play is not how Kemba plays, I think it makes it a bad fit. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you got
the
that
way
right.
you guys
because
play. You watch more than I do.
When I watch Boston without Kyrie, Boston was a better team.
Yeah.
It was a group of 5 guys on the court that played together and dished the ball off.
No, I think Kemba would be a much better team player in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's faster than Kyrie, and I think he would do more of that stuff. But
he's
I'm worried to
take the shots.
Yeah, I'm worried about. Right, he's only averaged 5 assists in his career.
Yeah,
I'm more worried about how the other players would perceive that, because they already didn't like Hayward coming in and taking minutes. Now you're coming in another free agent taking minutes. So are they going to make those kids even madder and more upset? And one of the things I was picking, and I was talking to Tom, and like I said, I pick on my Duke fan or Terry and the Duke fans or whatever, but like it's a fact. I'm sorry, and it's me being fun and playing. Well, I told you last year, one, you can't rely on a Duke player being your best player in the NBA. Y'all had your 2 best players are Duke players.
Yeah.
so I knew y'all weren't going to win last year. That just wasn't happening.
We went from preseason being number 1 to finishing 4th.
Yeah. You put 2 Duke players together. That's a bad mix. Because I mean, think about it. There's only been like 5 players that's won a championship for Duke. Jeff Mullins won in '75. Danny Ferry in 2003. Before LeBron James came into the league, those are the only 2 people who won a championship in Duke history. Jeff Mullins and Danny Ferry. Since LeBron's came in, Dante Jones got, I think, 2. No, he got 1. Shane Battier got 2 with LeBron, and Kyrie got 1 with LeBron. So there's 6 right there for LeBron, and then Quinn Buckner, right, for Washington got 1. Not Washington. Golden State got 1 this year, last year with Golden State. So they got 6 players with a total, I think, 8 championships. Mitch Kupchak has 3. Scott Williams has 3. Just those 2 Tar Heel players have 6 championships, and James Worthy has 3.
And we still ain't Mitchem, Mike.
I'm not even going to get to him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Tar Heels, I think, last check, I think it was 30 championships out of 14 players. So 14 players have won championships for Tar Heels, 6 for Duke, if I'm getting that correct. So, yeah, Terry, I wouldn't, if I was you guys, I wouldn't put off my reliability on the Duke.
That's me. I don't understand.
That's still funny.
I mean, when I saw
Even
that, I just said, why Boston? I mean, I was the first one. I don't think that's where we need to go.
Okay. I was wondering what you were feeling about it. I didn't get any weird texts like, with Kim in a Superman shirt this week, so I was like, maybe Terry's not.
If I would have thought it was a plus for us, I would have sent, guys, did you see this?
That's what I was wondering. Hey, I didn't get anything from Terry.
No, it was like, no way.
Last night, folks, at Hepzibah Church over in Best City, we had, I want to mention, we had a nice little Christian concert over there. Decision Trio and Bart Fortenberry came by, and AppleLaneMusic.com, check them out. And they did some singing. They got some CDs and stuff. Really good. And we're going to post them up on Facebook and some pictures we had from there. The guys did a really good job yesterday. I want to thank them for that. Let's see. So that's the Kemba situation. As far as the money goes, here's Kemba's choices, Terry. It's $140 million to play somewhere else for 4 years. Charlotte can offer him 5 years, up to 220. So basically, and let me put this in perspective for you folks. In his career, he's made $47 million.
Mm-hmm.
For him to go to Boston or go to anywhere else, he would be giving up 1 year, a fifth year, between close to $60 to $80 million for 1 year. The way the math works out. So
not $60 to $80
million.
Yeah.
In 1 year, he could basically make $60 million, and he's made 47 in his 7 years in the league. So how do you look in the mirror or think about anything, Terry, and say, I would rather go to Boston? Like, my point is, y'all's team, I don't think is that good enough and that good of a fit for him to want to leave Charlotte over more money than what he's made in his career. Like, how do you say, I'm going to give up 60, and I haven't even made 60. I've only made 47 a year. I'm just going to give up 60 because I want to win 10 more games a year? I mean, if they get one score that scores 25 a game, they're right there in the 4 or 5 seed, aren't they?
The only reason he would go to Boston would be for the name, the Celtics. Coaching, I think the coaching's better there. And the TV view. You know what I'm saying? Everything that comes with everybody.
But if it's that, why wouldn't he just go to the Lakers?
Well, I agree.
David, they just opened up the spot. Why would you go there
thing.
instead of Boston? Now, he went to UConn. Is this a family move? Is this something like that? That's the only connection that I've made so far. Because if you're choosing an open spot, like I said, the Mavericks tried to get Kemba to come. They wanted him. And I just read down here at the bottom, the Mavericks are going to back off into some of the second-tier players because Kemba didn't want to come there. They got space there.
And you also have to think of him as a individual playing this game. Do you want to have a chance? If you stay in Charlotte, you can sign for your 5 years at $220-some million.
Well, it just depends what they wonder what they offer. We don't know what they're going to offer
that's what
too.
I'm saying.
So I don't think Charlotte,
go to Boston where their name is mentioned and you know you're going to be a playoff team.
Charlotte's issue is, what are they going to offer? How much more than the 140 are they going to offer? Because Kemba's going to look at it this way. If I take a 4-year deal at 140, that means the 5th year I could probably get $25 million somewhere. Let's say I'm going to get $25 million that 5th year somewhere, no matter what. So is Charlotte going to offer? If they offer him 170, that's only $5 million more than he would anyway. So they got to offer him, I think, up to 200. And do you want to pay? Think about what I'm saying here. Kemba Walker, a me-first point guard, $40 million a year for 5 years. Whether you love him or not as a fan, whether he's your best player or not, but do you pay your best player if he's not good enough to make the playoffs with the team and you got the same team coming back? Do you pay him? He was only making $12 million this year. It's pretty much 3.5 times more than what he got this year. So you got to get rid of 3 players at some point. Jordan don't want to pay the tax, so you're going to have to get rid of some of these players at some point. Basically, a player is worth somewhere around $10 to $12 million on average. They've got a lot of players that are getting paid 12. Nick Batum's getting paid $24 million. So they've got, if they're going to keep Kemba, they've got to move pieces for Jordan because he don't want to pay the luxury tax. And so unless they're winning something, so there's a lot of. I think Charlotte's trying to get by with offering something that he can turn down and be like, "Hey, we tried." Don't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or you got to have that thought in your head. It's because the money is, yes, you want to keep him, but I don't know. A lot of people, they're saying he's the best player in team history. I do want to make a point about this. He is not. He played the longest. Maybe he scored the most points for the longest. Dell Curry was the all-time leading scorer before he broke it. Are we going to say Dell Curry was the best player in Charlotte Hornets history?
I would say not.
I went down the list, Terry, and I know you might disagree maybe on some of this, but let's say I was naming my starting lineups. And when I do this, what I like to do, and here's my thought process. Everybody says, what rules are you playing by, or what are you doing? Well, here's my rules when I say, I'm naming my best 5. We're going to the park. We're playing 2s and 3s to 21. That's the rules. We're going to the park. We're playing 2s and 3s to 21. There ain't no referees. There ain't no time. There ain't none of that. We're going to the park, and we're going to figure out from there we're playing 2s and 3s to 21. So there's my basis. Now, with that said, Here's my starting lineups for the Hornets, all-time best players. Don't get your feelings hurt here. First team, Terry.
Okay.
If I'm going to the park, and I'm going to back into that spot, I got at power forward, Larry Johnson.
Agree.
Shooting guard. This is my best shooting guard, and if I'm a basketball player in Hornets history, Kendall Gill.
I'll agree.
The best small forward, this is the easiest one of all, and who I believe is the best player in team history. He won a playoff series, and he was the All-Star MVP, Glenn Rice. Small forward. And the best player, in my opinion, like I said, Kemba can't say he's All-Star MVP. He can't say he's not. He didn't win a playoff. He hadn't won one playoff series.
Yeah.
So until he does that, it's tough to say. Now, my center, Terry, will probably disagree with me, but here's my point. Alonzo Mourning only played 3 years and wanted to leave. My center is a Hall of Fame center, 9-time All-Star, made the finals, led a team to the finals, and set the team record for field goal percentage in a year. The best center they've ever had, well, there's only been for 1 year, is Dwight Howard.
See, there's where I disagree. I would go with Alonzo Mourning.
All right. So Lonzo didn't want to be here. He's not the athlete. Now, I'm not saying Lonzo ain't good. Lonzo can shoot better than Dwight, clearly. Lonzo had a 17-foot jumper. He was like a taller, slower Karl Malone. The way he sat there and shot those jumpers at the 15, right there around the free throw area. You know what I mean? Like he set a lot of screens, a lot of pick and rolls there. But Dwight Howard's a stud, folks. You got to remember that. Like I said, 9-time All-Star and Defensive Player of the Year. Did he win MVP 1 year, or was he coming second a couple of times? I don't think he won MVP, but he led his team to the finals 1 year, like Allen Iverson did, all by himself. Terry, listen, who was on his team? Jameer Nelson, J.J. Redick, Hito Turkoglu to the finals at center.
I guess that's where I would sit back, because I'd never put Dwight Howard in on account of he only played 1 year.
Well, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And so my third team center, and here's some arguments. Some people say Eldon Campbell. Some people say Al Jefferson. And this is what's this guy I thought was the most skilled / he did really well, and people hated on him because of what we had to give up to get him. Vlade Divac.
He would be my third.
That's what I just said. He's third.
Yeah, he would.
Alonzo's second.
Okay.
He's on Vlade's on my third team. Is there anyone else you can think of at center? I mean, like I said, Al Jefferson, Eldon Campbell was the other contestants.
Al Jefferson would have been my second guy.
Oh, okay. I'm not a fan, a big fan of Al at all. You got Al Jefferson over Dwight Howard?
I would have.
Terry,
I wouldn't have put.
You say because of 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year.
Right.
That's
your reason. Okay, so my last starter with Kendall Gill, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, Grandmama, and Dwight Howard. Let's break some hearts, Terry. If we're going to the park, and I got a point guard, I'm picking the man himself,
Davis,
the Baron, Baron Davis. He's going to dunk on all y'all's head. He's Kemba Walker, but can dunk. That's all I got to say. Kemba can't dunk on nobody. Baron Davis will yam on somebody's head. You remember he would dunk on the 7-footers in the lane. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Now BD like to. He's a little overweight there in his further years.
That's where I would be the very opposite. Now I would take Kemba.
I don't want Kemba soft butt out there at the park. If I'm at the park,
Kemba can shoot from anywhere, inside, outside, take you to the hole, bring you back outside, and still dish in your face.
Now so can Baron Davis, and then he'll dunk on you. Here's the thing: we're at the park. Remember,
I know
there's gonna be some pushing and shoving, Terry. You want to push and shove with Baron Davis?
Good at, once he gets shoved to still put in, but now Baron was too.
Now my second team is Kemba at point guard, Eddie Jones at the shooting guard.
I liked Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones was a baller.
Yeah.
My three, here's what you'll probably argue. I think I know who you'll want at 3. You'll probably want Gerald Wallace as the second team 3. I got Steven Jackson as the second team 3.
I'm going to be honest with you. Gerald Wallace would probably be my third team.
He is my third team, so my 4. Steven Jackson is my 2, and Gerald Wallace is my 3. I've seen Gerald Wallace shoot enough to believe I could beat him in a game of horse. Steven Jackson is an NBA shooter.
Yeah. Steven
Jackson is an NBA defender. Steven Jackson, hey, once again, Terry, we're at the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got Steven Jackson. Speaking of being at the park, I already told you Lonzo is on this team. Listen how tough this team is down low. Steven Jackson, Lonzo. You know who my power forward is? How about Anthony Mason? The Mace at power forward with those guys. So there's my second team Hornets. Now third team Hornets got a little fun. It's so tough on some of these. You already agreed on Wallace and Devos. Derek Colbin was my third team power forward. He was really skilled.
Yeah, well,
A lot of people, and I'm looking at going through the list online. There was a lot of PJ Browns, but the power forwards they really didn't. I mean, Cody Zellers. There were some nominations on him.
See, PJ Brown was just steady.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't gonna. I mean, to me, Derek Coleman was one of those who's going to show up one night, then not show up the next.
Right.
PJ Brown's going to be the same guy game after game.
All right, and then finally, the guards. Now, a lot of people would probably say Raymond Felton should be the third point guard. But folks don't give him no credit at all. Muggsy Bogues is my third point guard. He's 18th all-time in NBA assists. He averaged 8 assists a game. It didn't matter. Listen, and here, and my shooting guard to go with him, and the reason I put him in there over a couple other people, over David Wesley, over a couple other people, is this shooting guard was tough, and he actually played with Muggsy, so he knows how to defend with Muggsy. So if Muggsy had to move over and guard the shooting guard, this guy guarded. This guy said Muggsy on the documentary. He said Muggsy guarded every point guard in the NBA, but 2, Magic and Mark Jackson, because they would back him down and beat him up. But he said he guarded everyone else. And this guy was the shooting guard, and he said I had to guard Magic and Mark Jackson. Rex Chapman.
That's who I would have took, Rex Chapman.
Rex Chapman. Doesn't get enough credit for how good he was. He was a scorer, and he's a pretty good defender. But that's just my list, Terry. I got Baron Davis, Kendall Gill, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, Dwight Howard. I'm going to the park with those. Terry would have Kemba and Mourning there in his top 5, but I've got the Baron, Kendall Gill, Glenn Rice, Dwight Howard, and LJ, Larry Johnson, Grandmama.
Yeah, but again, my reason for not putting Dwight Howard in mine because they only had 1 year.
Casey, my buddy Casey listens out here in Rainwater. He says Charlotte, from what he's seen, is only offered 5 years and 150. That's not going to get it.
No,
somebody's going to get 4 and 140, and he's gone.
Yeah.
If that's what he's offered,
well,
he's not coming back.
There's your difference. If it's
that's
only
what I'm saying. What
$10
does Charlotte offer?
million thing, or me staying in Charlotte, me going to Boston, let's just put it like that, then I'm heading to Boston.
Even at 5 for 150, Terry, that's $30 million a year for a point guard
It is.
that shoots too much.
But
all right.
now, again, on my end, Boston does not need Kemba.
That's going to be y'all, too. Y'all are about to eat that contract instead of us. Take that, Terry. We'll just keep losing. We'll lose 10 more games and we'll get the number 1 draft pick next year when the draft pick is me or you. There will be no good players come out next year instead of Zion. That's when the Hornets will get their one.